Hey guys, it's me again. This is our 11th time meeting like this. Let me ask you a quick question. How do you guys usually spend your summers? Back in high school, I had the absolute worst luck. My dorm didn't have AC. The school had just expanded enrollment, and there were so many incoming freshmen that they ran out of dorm rooms. So, they had to stick us newbies in a brand new building that didn't have air conditioning yet. At the time, we all figured they'd install it pretty soon, so we just sucked it up. But we ended up toughing it out for over a year. It wasn't until my sophomore year, when it got unbearably hot, that they finally put in the ACs. That summer of my freshman year was brutally hot. I constantly had trouble sleeping at night. I dragged myself out of bed, splashed cold water on my face, and forced myself to go back to sleep. Later on, I realized I wasn't the only one. My roommates couldn't sleep either. They actually copied my trick and started wiping their faces with cold, damp towels. One night, I just felt so miserable that I quietly started crying in bed. I didn't dare to actually cry out loud though, because I felt so embarrassed. I just secretly sniffled and pretended I had a runny nose. Eventually, I figured out a workaround. When I went back home, my mom and I bought a bunch of cooling mattress pads and blankets, along with some super breathable pajamas. After that, I could finally manage to catch some Z's. So, to be completely honest, I really hate summer. All my memories of summer are just miserable and uncomfortable. It wasn't until I finally started working, with AC in both my office and my apartment, that summer started feeling a bit more bearable. I thought those agonizing, sweltering days were gone for good. But life always has a way of throwing you a curveball. One night about 3 years ago, around 10 p.m., the power suddenly went out at my place. And it wasn't just my house. My whole neighborhood experienced a blackout. It was smack in the middle of the hottest part of summer. My AC had been running for a while before the power cut, so the room still had a little bit of cool air left. I was scared to open the door because I didn't want the hot air from outside creeping in. Plus, I had already showered for the night, and the last thing I wanted was to get all sweaty again. To keep myself from getting too hot, I sat up on my bed, trying to touch as little of the mattress as possible, and barely moved an inch. I was paranoid that any extra movement would make me break a sweat. To make matters worse, my phone was about to die. To save battery, I just turned it off. So I sat there quietly on my bed, listening to the sounds outside. After listening for a bit, things started feeling eerie. At first, there was some sparse chatter outside. A few neighbors stepped out to ask about the blackout, but they all trickled back inside shortly after. As time went on, the neighborhood got quieter and quieter. I couldn't help but wonder, was everyone else doing the exact same thing as me, staying perfectly still to avoid sweating? As the minutes ticked by, the cool air in my room slowly faded away, and it started getting super stuffy. In a daze, I thought to myself, is the world ending? Why is this so unbearable? I kept listening to the silence outside. It was dead quiet. You couldn't even hear the crickets. Suddenly, a thought hit me. Didn't this suffocating wave of heat feel exactly like the onset of a disaster? What if it was one of those apocalyptic, world-ending disasters? When facing a catastrophe where fighting back is completely futile, people probably wouldn't be screaming or causing a scene. Instead, it would probably be exactly like my neighborhood at that moment. Everyone staying dead silent, quietly waiting for the end to come. I managed to tough it out until around 1 a.m. when the power finally came back on. The lights in my room snapped on, and one by one, I heard the hum of AC units booting up all around. The buzzing of the outdoor AC compressors felt like a grand announcement. The apocalypse is on pause. Life resumes now. You know, throughout our long lives, we're bound to run into moments where we're completely powerless. Now, whenever I hit one of those moments, I think back to those AC-less high school days and that blackout night. If it were you, how would you handle it? That's it for today's little story. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Ping, a brand new YouTuber, and I'll catch you in the next one.